Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Friday to you all. Obviously, we reached a new all-time high for Bitcoin today. It's above 70,000, and then we retraced back again. So it's like investor kind of tipping their little toes into the water to see how Bitcoin's going to hold up. They get above a previous all-time high, and then we go back down a little bit. The miners actually had a pretty good day today as well. So we got a lot to cover. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Bitfarms also doing the ATM today, right? A lot of people are a little upset about it. I'll give you my thoughts on it. And then we'll take a look at the Bitcoin miners in the month of February as far as which ones came in at the top 5. And then we'll also look at the last 12 months performance over the miners here, how they scored on the monthly metrics that I do. Okay, so we got a lot to cover here. We'll get through as fast as we can here. And as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Please do your own research and invest in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And then also corrections will be posted to Discord, which is through Patreon, and YouTube community posts and Twitter as well. If there are any mistakes, right? Only human, I can make mistakes from time to time. So let's get into Bitcoin, what's going on with it right now. You can see here that Bitcoin today obviously had a nice wick up. We got to 70,199, then we came back down. If we look at the 1 hour chart, it looked a little bit more brutal here. I mean, we had a spike up and then we had the reversal here within the next hour, right? So definitely an interesting day in Bitcoin today. We definitely rallied back up. We got up to basically at that point, where did we end here? That was a high of 69,560. And then we've been kind of falling back down a little bit here after hours or normal trading hours, right? These Bitcoin trades 24 hours anyways, but at least for the trading hours for the stock market, okay? So we're kind of handling back a little bit here. I'm guessing for the weekend, we're kind of probably going to trade a little bit sideways. And then come Monday, we're probably going to bounce again, probably test the all-time high again, if not Monday, sometime that week. We may surpass it again and get past that, but we'll see what happens there. Okay, so it was a fun day. It's nice to see that we're getting to the new all-time highs, and hopefully we can continue to do that going forward. Maybe next time get a little bit more ahead than we got previously. Okay, but that's it for Bitcoin. Ethereum also, I think today reached over 4,000, I believe. Let's take a look at that one really quick. Yeah, I got to 4,000 and then basically retracted a little bit here. So that's also good there if you got Ethereum. And then the miners here had a pretty good day, except for a couple. Looks like 4 were down today, based on what I'm seeing here right now. Best ones was Annie up 11%. Really no news on them. Argo was up 6. BitDigital was up 6. BitDeer 7. Bitfarms was up 6. Cypher was up only 2%. Cypher's obviously had a nice run up here recently after they reported their quarterly results or fiscal year end results. So they're kind of taking a little bit of a breather here, looks like. CleanSpark was up 13.58%, so that's, I think, the best performer here out of the... Nope, there was one that did better. And that was Mawson. Mawson, again, really no reason for them to go up 19%. I think that stock is being manipulated quite a lot there. Okay, Cores was down today 0.25%. DigiHost was also down 2.53%. DMG was down 2%. Hive was up 1%. Hive was up 2 3/4 roughly. Iron was down 0.19%. Marathon was up 7.7%. Mawson up 19%. Riot up 3%. STIG or Stronghold up 9%, and then Wolf was up 9.24% as well. So overall, good day in the markets here. Okay, so that pretty much covers that. Let's take a look at what's happening here with Bitfarms really quick, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. So Bitfarms announces $375 million at the market equity offering. They're not the only ones with an ATM. Marathon has a $1.5 billion ATM that they can use whenever they want to at their discretion. Other companies have ATMs as well. I don't think it's a bad deal, especially if you're growing. It'd be one thing if you were stagnant, not growing at all or something like that, then yeah, I wouldn't find these ATMs all that appealing. But as long as they're growing, they're at 6 exahash, 6 something right now, trying to get to 21 exahash by the end of the year. So they still have a lot of growth in them. You're basically looking at 3x growth here, a little bit more than that. By the end of this year, we're already in, we're in March right now. So basically you got 9 months left to grow from 6 to 21. That's basically, doing the math here in my head really quick, 15 exahash that you have to get installed. So a lot of growth there. They're going to need obviously cash to do it. So I'm okay with it. But basically they got this through H.C. Wainwright. And the company intends to use the net proceeds of the ATM program, if any, primarily on capital expenditures to support the growth and development of the company's existing mining operations, and then as well as for working capital and general corporate purposes. So this is fine. Right? I don't have a problem with this at all. We've seen it with CleanSpark has done this in the past. We've seen it with Iris Energy has done it in the past as well. We've seen it with other companies as well. As long as it's accretive to investors, right, where you're growing your hash rate, which they look like they're going to be growing, obviously, to get to 21 exahash, I'm okay with it. And then also, I think investors kind of look at these kind of ATMs in a wrong way. Not always, but maybe sometimes. Excuse me. Let me give you my thoughts on it. If you believe a company is going to be growing, like Bitfarms is looking to grow here about 3x from where they are right now in hash rate, that is obviously going to be accretive to investors, which means they're going to have obviously more revenue as Bitcoin goes up in value and they're able to buy more everything else, right? So instead of investors being shy or weary about investing in the company because they're going to be diluting, the way I look at it is you should be buying right now because it's pretty doggone cheap. And the reason I say that is because if a lot of investors buy now, let's say they buy now and the stock price goes up to $7, $8, $10, whatever it might be. If it gets to that point at $10, they're going to dilute a heck of a lot less than they are if the stock is at $2.70 or $2, whatever it's at right now. That's the way I kind of look at it. And I think maybe investors are kind of looking at it the wrong way also. But I can see the point here. If you're diluting and you're not growing, there's no real prospects for revenue improvements, things like that, then I can see the point of being wary of it. But if you have a company that's been growing and is intending to grow even more this year, right, with Bitcoin price going up, we get the spot ETFs, everything else is pumping Bitcoin up nicely. We reached a new all-time high in Bitcoin before the halving event, which has never happened before. It's going to be a wild ride this year where we might be getting to prices on Bitcoin where we haven't probably thought about possibly, right? But it all depends on where things go. Regardless, if Bitcoin even goes to 150,000, 180,000, maybe 200,000 or something like that, with them getting to 21 exahash at that point is going to be a huge revenue stream for them. And that's just kind of the way I look at it, right? So I'm okay with it. They've been around for a long time. They've been since 2017, 2016, I think I want to say, something like that. So they've been through these bear markets before, and they've been out obviously for a long time. So obviously they have a lot more shares out than any of the other companies. They have about 300 some odd million shares right now. So I'm okay with it. Like I said, right? It's one thing for growth and one thing for staying stagnant or just trying to fund operations to keep the doors open, basically, which they're not doing. They're doing this to grow. Okay, but let me know what you guys think of this. Obviously, everybody has an opinion on it, and I'd like to hear what your guys' thoughts are on it. Okay, that's it for that one. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin miners here in the past month of February, see which ones have done really well as far as certain metrics go. So here is my basically trophy to the top 5 miners if they get placed in this. So this is the top 5 miners for operations, right? We're looking at month-over-month hash rate growth, BTC percentage sold. We want to see, especially as we get closer into the halving event, we want to see that they are selling less and hodling more potentially, right? That might be a good thing. Obviously, Bitcoin price going up. Bitcoin's per exahash efficiency. So how efficient are they? Month-over-month BTC mine percentage, how much that has increased. BTC mined, right? How much did they actually mine? Days mined, so operations uptime. Current hash rate, and then hodl are the last two, which we take out in the 6 metric scores as well. So we do an 8 metrics and a 6 metric score based on these things here, okay? So we'll go through each one here, and then we'll give you guys a total for everything. So looking at it here, we can see that CleanSpark obviously came in at number 1 for month-over-month percentage hash rate growth. They grew about 58% from where they were. They were at 10 exahash roughly, getting up to about 16 exahash right now in February, obviously. So huge growth for them. So they're number 1. Iris came in number 2 with 12.9%. TeraWolf at number 3 with 11.2%. Hive at number 4 spot with 9%. And BitDigital at number 5 spot with 8%. And you can see how everybody else has done going down the list. Next, if we look at current hash rate, obviously Marathon is the monster in the room. They have the most hash rate, and this is also for all self-mining. I don't include joint ventures in this stuff. This is for Marathon self-mining, for everybody else's self-mining, right, for the most part. Going down here, where was I go? Core, number 2 spot, 18.9 exahash. CleanSpark with 16 exahash. Riot with 12.3. So those are the top 4 right there. And TeraWolf is now in the number 5 spot with 7.9 exahash. And you got everybody else below that. Also, something to note here. Who was it? Mawson and Sphere 3D. I don't think I have Mawson in here. But Mawson and Sphere 3D still have not provided their numbers yet for February. They're always late to provide them. I don't know why. But they always provide those like 12, 15 days out after the month, which is obviously unfortunate. But so they're going to score a heck of a lot higher on these things than if they normally provided the information, okay? Going down here to BTC per exahash efficiency, higher is better. We got Hive coming in at 47.62, so they're the top 1 there, followed by Core. Core obviously has been doing pretty good here, 47.24 based on what I could calculate for them. DigiHost at 47.23, so really close to Core there. BitDigital 47.14, Bitfarms at 46.15, so those are the top 5 there, and then how everybody else did below, right? Marathon, the worst one here, 28.25 on that metric there, followed by Argo, Riot, and CleanSpark. CleanSpark is getting dinged for obviously 6 exahash of increase because I use the end of the month hash rate number divided by the Bitcoin that they mined for the month. That's kind of the way I use it. So if you have huge growth like they did with 6 exahash, you're going to get dinged a little bit on it. But the following month, you should obviously improve in it. Okay, month over month BTC mine percentage. So who actually mined more than the prior month? And we have TeraWolf mined 16.29% more than they did the prior month. CleanSpark 12.31. Those are the only two that were actually positive. Then you got DMG here only down 7.8%. Iris down 9%. Cypher down almost 10%. And that would be kind of like your top 5. Argo and Marathon were the worst ones here so far. Sphere, like I said, hasn't reported yet, so that's why they're down 100%. And you got Riot as well, down 19% from where they were in January as far as production is concerned, okay? And you got Bitfarms, so forth, and so on. So there's those. BTC mined in February. Core came in at number 1. And this is just for self-mining, right? So they came in at 893. Marathon came in number 2 spot with 724. CleanSpark in number 3 spot with 648. Riot at number 4 spot with 418. And you got TeraWolf at number 5 spot, 364. Okay, and then everybody else down below. And then days mined is based on what they had installed, obviously, based on what I could figure out. Based on what they had also installed or were installing and things like that. I look at the miners that were actually installed, not the ones that were being installed for the days mined, because those were just getting installed, so you can't really count those for a full month or close to a full month. Right, so I'm looking at the miners that were already installed, what that possibly could have been. So CleanSpark came in number 1 with 29, Hive pretty close second here with 27.97. Then you got TeraWolf at 27.6 days, BitDigital at 27.61, Cypher at 27.6. So those are the top 5 there, and then you got the rest here down below. Marathon at 16.29 days, Argo at 18. So Marathon has definitely almost swung like a 360 here since December, as far as, or 180 from where they were in December. In production numbers and things like that, they had a fantastic month in December, but just recently in January and February, they've been pretty atrocious as far as operations have been concerned, for the size that they are at least. They've had issues, they're working on getting those issues resolved. So we'll see here. Now we look at HODL. Obviously not everybody HODLs here. The big ones that do HODL here obviously is Marathon with 16,930, Hut 8 with 9,110, Riot at 8,067, and then you got CleanSpark with 4,218, Hive with 2,131. So those are the top 5 there, and then everybody else below it. The reason for HODL, obviously, there's a time to HODL and a time to sell. I believe the time to keep HODL is, closer to the halving event. 1 year prior to the halving, 1 year prior to the halving event would be a good time to start kind of HODLing. And then as you're going into the bull run, that's kind of where I think miners should start reducing their HODL, selling it, getting the revenue from that to prepare for the next bear market potentially. That's just my viewpoint on it. BTC percentage sold. So it looks like Marathon is the one I think they actually bought here in potentially in February. I know that they had 700 BTC that were on, they were staking, not staking it, but they were, what's the term I'm looking there? They had 700 BTC in January that they were, I can't remember the term now, but they're being held basically for something. And I wonder if those are being brought back into their fold right now or their HODL. But they had obviously an increase of 49.1% month over month as far as increase in the amount that they HODL. Riot also 0.02 or 0.2 is basically like a rounding error between what they report and what I have for them. So they were pretty much HODLing everything. CleanSpark HODLed pretty much everything also. Then you got Hive HODLed also a lot. They only sold 4% of it, what they mined here. Cypher about 10%, and then BitDigital at 15%. So then everybody else below sold either 100%, or you got like Hut 8, which sold 102% of what they actually mined. So whatever they had whatever they mined in February, they sold, plus they sold part of their HODL stack as well. Core, same thing, but Core has also the BTC that they get from hosting, which I don't include here. So it looks like they sold more than they actually had. And then with Core, based on the numbers that I'm looking at for the monthly reports, the last 2 at least, it looks like they're selling less than their combined total is for hosting and things like that. Okay. So they might be HODLing something there, but they're at least not reporting it. And then DMG sold more, obviously, than what they mined as well. And then Sphere 3D, we don't have any information on them. And that is it on the 8 metrics here. So that's how everything's stacked up. If we look at the actual numbers here, so scores based on the 8 metrics, we have this. So CleanSpark came in number 1 with 29 points, right? The way I grade this is the best score gets a 1 point. The lowest score gets 16 points or 18 points, whatever, how many miners I have here. And for Sphere 3D and Boston, I was giving basically 20 points on all of these because they were not counted in here. Okay, but TerraWolf has definitely snuck up here in the last in the month of February. Basically, they're up to number 2 spot with 41. Then you got Core and Hive tied for the number 3 spot with 49. Cypher at number 4 spot with 51, and Iris at number 5 spot with 55 points, along with Marathon. So those two are tied as well. And then you can see how everybody else here kind of played out over the past month of February as far as grades are concerned for them. Okay. Now, if we look at the 6 metrics here, which don't include HODL or current hash rate, this is more or less just on their performance of operations, things like that. CleanSpark came in number 1 again here, to number 22 points. TerraWolf at number 2 spot, same thing like up top for the 8 metrics. Then you got Hive at number 3 spot, Cypher number 4 spot, and Core number 5 spot, followed by Iris, BitDigital, DigiHost, Bitfarms, Marathon, and so forth, so on. So you can kind of see how that has all stacked up here for those, okay? And if we look at the individual scores here for all these guys here, let's go to CleanSpark. CleanSpark, the only thing that they got dinged on really hard was obviously their growth in exahash this past month, increasing by 6 exahash. That has an impact on their efficiency score because those all miners were not running for a full month, okay? Other than that, they've obviously done really well here. A couple 2s, actually 1, 2, couple 1s, couple 3s, 4 scores. So really good scores overall. That's why they're number 1. And then if we look at TerraWolf here, TerraWolf got dinged for obviously not having a HODL, number 11 spot overall. And then BTC sold a little bit there. Then you got Core. Core got dinged on BTC HODL, month-over-month BTC mine percentage, month-over-month hash rate a little bit there on the average side of things. And then obviously BTC sold there. Then you look at Hive here. Hive did pretty good on BTC per exahash, days mined as well. BTC sold and BTC hodled. A couple of things were kind of high was month-over-month BTC, so forth, so on. You can see all this. I'm not going to go through all of them. Just going to go through the top 5. Here's Cypher. You can see how they scored across the board here. Then you got Iris, that one. Marathon obviously got really dinged on BTC per exahash efficiency, month-over-month BTC mined percentage, and days mined as well. BTC mined obviously came in at number 2 spot. Current hash rate and hodled obviously number 1. BTC sold number 1 as well there. BitDigital, that's how they scored on all of those. You got Riot as well. We got Bitfarms, kind of average across the board here. And then we got Hut 8 on that one. DigiHost, BitDeer, DMG, Argo, and then obviously Sphere 3D and Mawson obviously scored like 20 on everything. Okay, so that's for the month of February here. Now, if we look at the numbers here for them, and here's obviously all the scores that I have for everybody here. If we look at the 12-month average score and ranking here, this is based on the 8 metrics. So this is going for the last 12 months that we've been doing this. Here's how things stack up that way, right? So there's obviously sometimes a miner might be up higher on one month than another month or vice versa, right? So they kind of switch back and forth a little bit here. But over the last 12 months, CleanSpark has performed the best on average. They're getting a score of 31, followed by Marathon with a score of 33. Then you got BitDeer with 36, Core with 42. Core, I only have 2 months of their ratings right now. So there's really, you could say, it's kind of hard to tell where they would have been before they were in Chapter 11 bankruptcy, right? Bitfarms number 5 spot. Then you got Cypher number 47, Hive 48, Riot 51, along with Iris. And the list keeps going on and on. So that's kind of the way things have looked at on the 8 metrics. If we exclude HODL and hash rate, here's how those look over the last 12 months based on the averages here. CleanSpark again coming in number 1 with 25 points, Core with 29, Iris with 32, Bitfarms with 34, along with Cypher, Marathon, and BitDigital. So we have a couple that are kind of tied for 4 spot there, where they're kind of in that same boat. Then you got DigiHost, so forth, so on. So that's kind of how everything is scored on this, right? So this tells you a little bit about their performance over the last 12 months, how they've been doing operationally. And this is something that I look at, obviously, that I take quite a bit of weight into it when I go into investing in these companies, because we want to see that they are operating, obviously, really well. Their operations are good. They're growing their hash rate. They're growing their BTC production. All those things go into these, obviously, numbers here. So CleanSpark, obviously, has been doing really well here over the last year. I mean, it's up probably, what, 700 some odd percent from the 52-week lows. So it's obviously been doing the best here, and that's, I think, mainly, it might be lucky that the numbers are coming out this way, but it's kind of the same thing that I've been seeing for CleanSpark for a while here for the past 2 years, is they've been just outperforming everybody else and these metrics and other metrics as well, and they're, obviously getting rewarded for with the stock price now above $20 and growing 700% in appreciation in stock value in the last basically year, right? From 52-week lows. So I don't know if it's just a coincidence on this or if this actually has merit to it, but right now it's working out pretty good, right? You can also see here a couple of the ones that I like. Bitfarms, Iris as well are in the top 5. Marathon is also, I guess you could say, probably in the top 5 here as well, based on these scores here, along with Bit Digital, Cypher, Iris Core right now as well. So we can kind of take a look at that and see how that has all played out over the past year. So that is it for it, I think. I think we'll call it a day here. We'll obviously see what happens tomorrow and things like that. And as always, Patreon members get access to all of these here, spreadsheets and all of my metrics and everything else that I do to kind of just give me a little bit, maybe a little bit of an advantage as far as where things might go. I don't know if it's a big advantage, but it does definitely help, I think. But that's available to all the Patreon members. They get this whenever I update this, and usually I update this like almost every single day, except for like the weekends. And the weekends are only updated when I do something. But that's still $8 a month for that offer. You might still have a couple spots that are like $5 or $4 when they do open up. And then if you pay the monthly subscription for it, you get 10% off. So there's a little discount on top of that all. And then also we have the the private server for Discord as well. Okay, so that's all included in that for you guys. And we'll leave it there. That's my sales pitch, my only sales pitch. I don't give you guys commercials. Well, commercials, YouTube does that, but I don't do any paid sponsorships or anything like that. So that is it. Let me see, I want to turn this off. I want to go over, let's see if this is going to work. Let's see if my camera's going to work this time. It works. Fantastic. Okay, so we'll see what happens, obviously, over the weekend, where Bitcoin goes and things like that. Next week should be interesting as well, right? We've seen a pretty nice increase in Bitcoin price this past week, prior week as well. We reached a new all-time high just today as well. So it's going to be a fun couple months, I think, going forward as we're getting up in price, not only Bitcoin, Ethereum, dogecoin is up also quite a bit. So there's a lot of good stuff happening here right now. The Fed may lower interest rates sometimes, so that's going to obviously help things out as well. There's just a lot more happening right now with banks wanting to buy the spot Bitcoin ETFs, mom and pops, everything else is just kind of pumping Bitcoin right now, which is really interesting. So I think we're still early. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. The miners are going to be kind of up and down right now before the halving event, I think, unless Bitcoin really starts to rally to like 70, 80,000 and beyond before the halving. Other than that, I think we're kind of going to be bouncing a little bit here, up and down until after the halving, but we'll see. Okay. And then also, almost forgot. Tomorrow I'm going to be with the BTC mining guy doing a Twitter Spaces at 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see if we can get on any guests on there. If not, we'll just talk about everything that's kind of happened here in the past week with the miners, and we'll keep the conversation going that way. And then also tomorrow I'll do the live stream as well. That'll be sometime in the afternoon before I go on with the Bitcoin stock mining guy. Okay. That's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this. I greatly appreciate you guys. And also, I'm sorry I've been kind of behind on comments. There's just so many of you guys now. It's tough for me to answer to everybody, so I'm trying to keep up as best I can with not only on YouTube comments, but on comments in Twitter and in Discord and things like that. There's only one of me. I wish I could clone myself and do it that way. But so be patient. I will eventually respond to you guys in the comments. Okay? That's it. Thanks again. I'll see you tomorrow.